Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today, I'm going to brag about something. The blockbuster trade of Doncic and Davis is undoubtedly one of the most shocking events of this season. Since the moment the trade was completed, it has been like a powerful force, reshaping the Lakers and the Mavericks. The subsequent development trend. No time has quietly passed. The trade has been going on for a while, but the situations of the two teams are very different, have taken different paths. After the Lakers welcomed Doncic, a basketball genius, seems to have been injected with a shot in the arm and has brought a new vitality. With his outstanding basketball talent and comprehensive technical ability, quickly integrated into the team system. In just a few games of running in with his teammates, they sparked a remarkable chemistry, showing an amazing chemical reaction. Under his leadership, the Lakers' record has soared like a rocket. They made great progress all the way, with an unstoppable momentum, and rose to the second place in the Western Conference. Luka Doncic's performance on the court is all-round. On offense, he has various and efficient scoring methods, whether it's accurate shooting from mid to long range, or the tough impact when breaking through the inside, which makes the opponent's defense exhausted. Meanwhile, his talent in organizing and connecting is even more admirable. With precise passing and excellent overall view, he organizes the team's offense in an orderly manner and activated the offensive potential of his teammates, making the Lakers' offense system more three-dimensional and threatening. In many key games, Doncic showed the style of a superstar. He often turned the tide in the crucial moments. For example, in a game against a Western powerhouse, the game entered a feverish stage. The score was constantly changing. The situation was extremely tense. In the final minutes of the decisive moment, Doncic made consecutive difficult shots, breaking the deadlock with his own efforts. Meanwhile, he also created excellent scoring chances, created excellent scoring opportunities for his teammates. He finally led the Lakers to a successful reversal and won the key victory. His arrival not only greatly improved the team's competitive strength, but also rekindled the Lakers fans, rekindled their strong desire for the championship. The entire Lakers camp immersed in a hopeful atmosphere. In stark contrast to the Lakers' brilliance, the Mavericks, after this trade, seemed to have fallen into the quagmire of fate. They suffered a series of ruthless blows. In his first game with the Mavericks, he was unfortunately injured. This accident was like a bolt from the blue, casting a heavy shadow over the team. They thought it was just an accidental setback. The team could quickly adjust its state and overcome difficulties. However, fate seemed not to let go of the Mavericks. Since then, many rotation players in the team have fallen, and the injury list kept growing, like a terrible plague spreading in the team. What's more, the team's core player, Irving, suffered a serious injury of a torn cruciate ligament. This bad news was like a bombshell, which instantly darkened the Mavericks' future. As one of the core players on the offense, he has excellent scoring ability and a big heart in critical moments, is an important reliance for the Mavericks in the game. His absence greatly weakening the Mavericks' offensive firepower. The team's offensive efficiency and scoring stability have been greatly affected. Not only that, Hardy, Ikim, and Pust, and other fringe rotation players were not spared. They suffered successive serious injuries, making the Mavericks roster riddled with holes and incomplete. Nowadays, the Mavericks are facing a large number of injuries, are in an unprecedented predicament, facing many thorny problems. In terms of salary, during the off-season, the Mavericks, in order to strengthen, they signed Marjanovic with a full mid-level contract, 3 years, $27 million. This operation, although at that time, seemed to be an active move to inject fresh blood into the team, but it unexpectedly triggered the hard cap mechanism. Currently, the Mavericks only has a very small space of $51,000, a 10-day contract. According to the league's regulations, costs up to $119,972. Such a tight salary situation makes the Mavericks, in terms of personnel replenishment, is struggling, as if they are trapped in an inescapable predicament. Due to salary restrictions, the team cannot introduce new players to fill the vacancies in the roster. Even the existing players, due to the tight salary cap, face the risk of being forced to leave. Salary expert Bob Marks, the Mavericks' remaining games this season has conducted an in-depth and meticulous analysis. His analysis is worrying and fully reveals the Mavericks' the current personnel configuration. According to him, currently, the Mavericks' two-way contract players, Kessler and Brandon Williams remaining regular season games are only 2 and 5 respectively. According to the NBA's relevant regulations, the number of regular season games for two-way players is 50. This data means that if the current injured players of the Mavericks cannot return to the court soon, the team's shortage of personnel will further worsen. It may even develop into a desperate situation. Although theoretically, the Mavericks can include some injured players into the game roster to meet the personnel requirements of the game. However, this approach is undoubtedly falsifying the injury situation, which seriously violates the league's regulations and sportsmanship. Once the league finds out, they will face severe penalties. Barb Marks specifically emphasized that he will mark March 25th, the Mavericks game against the Nets. He believes that this game is likely to become the Mavericks game of forfeiting and withdrawing. Although in the long history of the NBA, there has never been a case of a team forfeiting a game. But considering the current poor situation of the Mavericks, this possibility is not impossible. And as time goes by, and the continuous deterioration of the team's injury problems, it becomes more and more realistic. The current available players of the Mavericks, including two-way contract players, only 8 players are available. This number just meets the NBA's minimum number of players, which barely allows the team to operate on the court. However, after the Mavericks triggered the hard cap, the existing salary cap is not enough to sign new two-way players. What's worse, the existing two-way player contracts are about to expire, which undoubtedly brings greater impact. In this way, the Mavericks seem to be caught in a vicious circle. Shortage of personnel leads to a decline in team strength. Poor record further affects the team's salary cap and the ability to recruit players, which makes the shortage of personnel more serious. If this situation continues, the Mavericks may really fail to assemble the roster. Once such a situation occurs, the title of the worst team in NBA history, will undoubtedly fall on the Mavericks. Looking back on the long history of the NBA, although some teams have encountered difficulties, but like the Mavericks, after the trade, fall into such a desperate situation in a short time is rare. Once, some teams suffered from key player injuries during the season, but through reasonable personnel allocation and tactical adjustments, fully exploiting the potential of role players, and changed their offensive and defensive strategies, they were still able to maintain competitiveness to some extent. They still achieved good results in the season. However, what the Mavericks are facing, not only the injury of core players, but also a large number of personnel shortages and a serious limitation of salary space. This situation of multiple dilemmas makes the future of the Mavericks full of uncertainty. It seems to be shrouded in a thick fog, making it difficult to see the direction ahead. For the fans of the Mavericks, this period is undoubtedly an extremely difficult time. They watched helplessly as their beloved team, from a competitive and highly anticipated team, and highly regarded team, to a team that may face disqualification, and withdrawal. They are filled with helplessness, loss, and pain. The team's management is also under enormous pressure at the moment. How to find a practical solution has become a problem that they urgently need to solve. Perhaps they need to re-examine the team's roster planning from the perspective of the team's development strategy. Find some low-cost but capable players. They can discover some overlooked potential players. Or from the development league, select young players with potential to fill the team's vacancies. Meanwhile, for injured players, the recovery work also needs to be increased. From the medical team's equipment, to the rehabilitation plans, formulation, to daily rehabilitation training, supervision. To be more refined and professional, strive to help injured players recover as soon as possible, and return to the court, and contribute to the team in the next games. The Mavericks will face even more severe tests. They need to continue to compete fiercely with other strong teams. Every game for them will be an extremely difficult battle. Like a difficult battle with fewer against more. If the team cannot solve the personnel problem quickly, not only will this season's performance be seriously affected, but also their ranking may drop significantly. but also miss the playoffs, but also have a profound impact on the teams, have a profound negative impact. For example, the team's commercial value may decline, affecting the team's sponsorship income and ticket sales. The team's appeal in the free agent market will also be greatly reduced, making it difficult to attract excellent players. The growth environment of young players will also be disrupted, which will affect the team's future talent reserve for the entire NBA. If the Mavericks really abandon the game or withdraw from the game, it'll also be a big impact. This will prompt people to think deeply about salary rules and mechanisms for dealing with emergencies. The league may need to re-examine the existing rules and mechanisms, whether they can provide more reasonable and effective solutions to ensure the fairness and integrity of the game, and maintain the overall image and stable development.